This container was full of stowaways, but it was empty during customs inspection. The sheriff knew the container must have been modified. He called one of his men to enter the bottom of the box came outside and ordered his men to shoot. The position of the bullet holes explained everything to the container. If they didn't come he would shoot them immediately. But the stowaways knew clearly whether they came out or not, Mia found there was space above the wooden box. So she climbed up first. The impatient sheriff was about to give the order. Suddenly there was no suspense here. The sheriff ended the girl's life with a shot. Bullets penetrated the iron plate. Everyone was instantly shot like Mia tightly covered her mouth with her hands of making a sound. In the end, even the child who survived couldn't escape a gunshot. After the sheriff and he trembled and took out his phone. She sent a voice message telling to her husband to find a place or he would be shot by bullets. At first, she and her husband were actually in the same container. The snake had opened the door again and more stowaways rushed in instantly. After a chaos, Nick was arranged by the snakehead to another container. The two were completely separated. Only Mia was left in the nightmare journey of survival. He didn't know if her husband was alive or dead, but God seemed not to favor him. A storm broke out that night. The ship was swaying on the sea. In order to save the ship, had to order to discard some containers. The container where Mia was in was woke up the next day, the entire already 180 degrees. He looked out through the surrounding was she wanted to contact her husband, but forgot the password of the spare phone. And what was worse, the baby in her womb had not moved for a long time. The seawater was still immediately opened the wooden box to search for supplies. The other box was filled and with even a box of LCD there was no food or drink. Tape to seal the leaky hole. At this time, a heart-wrenching rock came from outside and found that it was the box of her husband, and it was sinking rapidly and soon disappeared from the sea. In despair, she took out a knife and prepared to die with her husband. But then her stomach suddenly moved. It was the baby kicking her in the womb. The idea of because suicide. She couldn't bear to let the baby die with her. She started to survive. To solve was she opened the last wooden expecting box. A surprise, but the director wasn't so gave her another box while of cursing the screenwriter. The sealant was still used it and tape to plug then the leak. He found a section and of quickly hose. Solved the problem of water he leakage and drainage to record the date and the highest water level. Carry on luggage. There was a loaf of bread and two bottles simple of fresh water. Then the phone suddenly rang. Thank goodness it was his husband. It turned out that Nick wasn't Mia's voice message at and that found time. An opportunity he to was escape still hiding in the after learning Mia's current situation. Nick said he would find a way to save her to find a way to survive. But accidents followed one after Mia's another. Amniotic fluid had and broken the storm hit at night. But at this moment, Nick called. Mia accidentally and her dropped her phone into the water. In the third day, Mia successfully gave birth to the baby. Is too sensitive which and is worrying. Not suitable to the show baby's here. Appearance gave him more hope. No problems also arose. She needs to eat to produce milk, and the baby can survive. But trapped in the box, there was he remembered the electric so he started to break the box. Another day passed like there this. Was only one bite of and bread the only left. Can was almost for empty. The baby, he couldn't finally give up. After a few sudden days. Rain saved him. It seems that the plastic box is not useless, but it was not enough to have milk. He cheered up and continued what to break it. What is a woman's weakness? For motherhood? This is vividly reflected in Mia. He successfully opened a hole. A ray in of sunlight shone on his face. The sunshine is hope, which is the motivation for him and the baby to live. Although the boundless ocean was desperate, but the baby in her arms made her extremely determined. No matter what. That day, he cleaned the baby's and threw the old diaper into the water. It was actually a sports coat that he had modified. Attracted Mia was very excited she when immediately she made a tool to catch from fish. Morning to evening. He used dozens of diapers, but he never succeeded. While he was lying down to rest, he suddenly saw a plane in the air. He immediately returned to the box and got a piece of glass. An accident happened when the sharp iron plate scratched his and a deep blood wound was opened. He didn't have time to reflected the plane with the lens. After returning he began to save using iron and copper wires and white wine as alcohol for disinfection. He sewed the wound stitch by stitch. At night, he changed his weaved the earphone cord into a and fishing net. Put the diaper in the middle of the net. He finally caught a fish raw without cooking. A few days of survival gave him now experience. Food and drink are no longer a problem. As the baby everything was bearable for him. One day, Nick called again, but the news was not good. He finally found a container, but was finally discovered and was shot while escaping. He was dying at this time. This call was to say goodbye to Mia. Seeing this, this, I couldn't help complaining. He was going
Why
to
did
die.
he have to tell Mia?
It's better not to make this
At
call.
least
Mia would think he
in
was still
desperate
alive. A glimmer
situation.
of hope might bring about
Finally,
a miracle.
Nick hung up the
Since
phone.
then, he and Mia were separated.
By now,
20 days had
the box
passed. Was filled with seawater.
Mia
had to hold onto the top
He
of the
used
box.
a plastic
to
box
make
and
a
a
simple
wooden
life
board.
raft. Then he wrapped a rope with the headphone
end
cable
tied
to the raft, and the other end was tightly tied
Then
to
a
her
seagull
wrist.
suddenly appeared.
Mia was very surprised
because
to see
it
meant there must be land
The
nearby.
container
ship sank
Mia
into the
struggled
sea. to hold onto
He
the raft.
collected a lot of
to
fish
attract
bones.
more seagulls. She didn't know how long she floated
Finally,
like this. They were discovered by
the
a
two
pair
women
of immediately
After
started
dragging
to
the
rescue.
life raft
They
up.
found a baby inside. Then the woman found the strap, so they continued to drag. Seeing this, I don't know if Mia
But
is
as
still
an
alive.
I must
tell you earlier. In the end, Mia was successfully
Although this
rescued.
may
not be logical,
but
such a brave mother, doesn't she deserve a perfect